The stars around the border of Vorn Dominion were quiet, cold, and empty. Most ships avoided this area. It was a dark zone, a place where many travelers had disappeared. But on this day, one small human research ship, Aurora 9, moved through the silence. Inside the ship, Dr. Elias Ward sat alone in the observation room. He was a soft-spoken man, calm by nature, known for helping many alien species understand human science. He was not a soldier. He never carried a weapon. He believed in peace, in learning, and in cooperation. For him, the galaxy was a place full of wonders, not threats. But even he felt uneasy today. The sensors on his ship were behaving strangely. Signals were scattering. Shadows moved on the radar when nothing was there. The lights flickered once, then twice, then went dark for 1 second too long. Elias whispered to himself, "This is not normal." He checked the communication panel. No damage, nothing wrong. Yet the air felt heavy, like the universe was holding its breath. Then the alarm screamed. Elias rushed to the control screen. A Vorn warship had appeared directly behind Aurora 9, and 3 more ships closed in like hunters circling their prey. The Vorn Dominion, an empire known for cruelty and for hating humans, did not send warnings. They only attacked. Before Elias could react, the ship shook violently. Bright energy beams tore through the hull. Panels exploded. Smoke filled the cabin. Elias grabbed the emergency beacon, coughing as sparks flew around him. He knew one thing. He had to send a message to Earth. The Vorn were boarding. Heavy footsteps echoed through the corridor. The metal doors were being cut open. With shaking hands, Elias activated the distress module. It gave him only a few seconds before it transmitted automatically. He spoke fast, breathless. "This is Dr. Elias Ward. They took me. Please tell Earth." Before the rest of his words could send, the door burst open. A tall Vorn soldier grabbed him by the collar and dragged him away. The screen flickered and died. The message cut off mid-sentence. The galaxy received only 8 words. "They took him. Please tell Earth." And then silence. Across space, on a Galactic Union observation station, officers stared at the broken transmission. The room filled with fear. Every officer there knew what it meant when a human was captured. It meant war. A war no one wanted. Commander Talvek, a reptilian officer from the Hyran race, looked at his assistants with wide eyes. "Do you know what this means?" he whispered. "Yes. Earth will respond," another officer replied. Talvek swallowed hard. Everyone in the Union understood the rule. Do not harm a human. Not because humans were violent, but because they were fiercely loyal. If one human was hurt, Earth would cross any star system to bring them back. The Union sent an urgent message to Earth. They expected an immediate reply. They expected anger, threats, shouting, something. But Earth said nothing. Hours passed. Ships stood frozen in space, waiting, watching, listening. The galaxy grew restless. 12 hours later, the silence became more frightening than any weapon. That was when spies near the human home system reported something terrifying. Earth was not talking. Earth was preparing. Satellite images showed massive human battleships rising from planetary docks. Carrier groups were aligning in perfect formation. Orbital cannons were charging. Every light in the Solar Fleet Command Center was red. Earth had activated something old, something secret, something dangerous. A coded operation known only as Protocol Helios. The Union officers trembled as the report ended. Talvek whispered, "For one man, they are bringing the whole fleet." Meanwhile, far from Earth, in a dark Vorn prison transport, Elias Ward sat chained to a metal chair. His wrists were bleeding. He was cold and exhausted, but his mind stayed clear. In front of him stood a Vorn commander named Rakul, a tall alien with gray skin and burning yellow eyes. Rakul studied Elias like a scientist studying an insect. "You humans," Rakul said slowly, "always calm, always silent. Do you not fear what is coming?" Elias looked at him and spoke in a low, firm voice. "You should release me." Rakul laughed, loud and cruel. "Release you? You weak creature? Why should we fear your tiny species?" Elias held his gaze. "Because Earth will come." The laughter stopped. Rakul's smile faded. "Earth? For you? You are not a soldier. You are not important." Elias breathed softly. "To Earth, every human is important." Rakul stepped back, suddenly unsure. For the first time, fear touched his eyes. Outside the ship's window, several Vorn war cruisers gathered, waiting for humanity. They wanted to test humans. They wanted to see if the stories were true. They would soon learn the truth. Earth had already heard the call. And humanity was coming. Not with words. Not with warnings. But with fire. The darkness of space seemed to twist around the Vorn prison transport. Elias Ward sat in silence, listening to the hum of the engines. His chains were tight around his wrists, cutting small red lines into his skin. But Elias did not look scared. He looked thoughtful, almost calm. Because he knew something the Vorn did not understand. Earth had heard his message. And Earth never ignored a human voice. Inside the ship, Vorn soldiers whispered among themselves. Rumors spread like fire. Did you hear? The humans, they are moving their fleet. No. That cannot be true. They would not risk war for a single man. You do not know humans. They are emotional, unpredictable. Elias could hear their voices echoing in the metal halls. Some sounded nervous. Some sounded angry. But one thing was clear. The Vorn did not expect what was coming. A deep alarm suddenly echoed through the prison ship. Red lights flashed along the ceiling. The soldiers stiffened, their yellow eyes full of sudden fear. Commander Rakul stormed into the holding room, anger on his face. They are coming, he growled. Elias looked up slowly. Earth? Rakul slammed his fist against the wall. Not Earth. A human scout fleet. 3 ships only. You humans truly think 3 ships can face the Vorn Dominion? Elias whispered, it's not 3 ships. Rakul froze. Elias met his eyes and said very softly, it's the beginning. Far away, Earth's preparation. On the far side of the galaxy, the solar system was no longer peaceful. The skies above Earth were burning with light. Massive engines roared as enormous starships rose from the docks. Carrier ships the size of cities left the atmosphere, their dark hulls glowing with power. Inside the Human Defense Command, hundreds of officers moved with perfect coordination. No one panicked. No one hesitated. The room was silent except for the voice of the central AI. Protocol Helios activated. Objective: retrieve Dr. Elias Ward. Priority: absolute. General Mara Kian, the highest-ranking officer of the Solar Fleet, stood before a giant holographic map. Her face was calm, but her eyes were sharp like steel. Status report, she ordered. Fleet 1 is ready for launch. Battleships Hammerfall, Titan, and Solaris await your command. Fleet 2 has exited the lunar dock. Carriers Cerberus and Aurora prepared. All jump engines charged to full capacity. General Kian nodded. Good. Begin Phase 1. Around her, generals and admirals exchanged tense looks. They knew what Phase 1 meant. It meant war was now unavoidable. Earth had decided. Where one human went, humanity followed. The galaxy watches. In the Galactic Union, species of every shape and size watched the human fleet gather. Some feared the Vorn. Some feared Earth. Most feared the future. On a Union Council station, the reptilian commander Talvex stared at the growing map of human ships. My heavens, he whispered. For one man, this much? His assistant replied, Sir, humans do not measure value by rank or status. A farmer, a child, a scientist, their lives are all equal to Earth. Talvex shook his head slowly. The Vorn have made a terrible mistake. Back on the prison ship, Elias felt the entire ship shake as Vorn cruisers changed formation. Outside his small window he saw flashes, light bending, engines burning, ships moving fast. He knew what that meant. Human scouts were near. Rakul grabbed Elias by the collar. Tell your people to turn back. Elias looked at him calmly. You started this. Only you can stop it. What do you mean? Release me. Return me to the Union. Earth will stand down. Rakul's lip curled. Never. Humans must be tested. Elias sighed. Then prepare for what comes next. Before Rakul could reply, the prison ship shook again, harder this time. Soldiers stumbled. Sirens screamed across the ship. A Vorn officer rushed in. Commander, we detect human ships. How many? Rakul demanded. The officer swallowed hard. Not 3, not 5, an entire formation. Rakul froze. How many ships? Over 80, and more arriving from hyperspace every minute. Elias closed his eyes. It had begun. The first human message. Outside the prison transport, space bent like liquid as human ships exited hyperspace. Sleek, dark, powerful vessels lined up with perfect discipline. Their engines glowed blue like burning stars. The lead human battleship, HSS Solaris, sent a single message. No threats. No anger. No shouting. Only one cold, simple line. Return Dr. Elias Ward. Rakul stared at the message. That is all? No demand? No warning? Elias whispered, that is the warning. Because humans only used simple words when they were absolutely serious. Rakul hissed in frustration. Prepare the weapons. Show them the strength of the Vorn Dominion. Elias shook his head gently. If you fire, they will answer. And what will they do? Rakul spat. Send more warnings? Elias looked at him, calm, steady, and completely certain. No. They will end you. The first shot. Vorn cruisers opened fire. Bright red beams shot across space, crashing into human shields. The human ships did not move. They did not dodge. Their shields flashed white, absorbing everything. Not a single human vessel took damage. Rakul's eyes widened. Their shields, how? Elias whispered, you made the wrong enemy. The human response. Inside the human flagship, General Kian raised her hand. Fire. One word. One command. One moment that split history into before and after. The HSS Solaris fired a single kinetic cannon shot, silent, fast, invisible. It passed through the shields of the Vorn's lead cruiser, then through the engines, then through the core. The ship exploded into a burning cloud of metal. All from one shot. All other Vorn ships froze. Elias heard the explosion echo even through the prison ship walls. He looked at Rakul, who now stood pale and trembling. That, Rakul whispered, was one shot. Elias nodded. Earth is just warming up. The echo of the destroyed Vorn cruiser faded slowly, but inside the prison ship, the fear did not fade at all. It grew. It spread. Soldiers ran through the corridors, shouting orders, their boots striking the metal floor in panic. The red alarms flashed without stopping. Elias sat quietly as his chains rattled with the shaking ship. He watched the fear around him with calm eyes. He had warned them. He had told them that Earth would come. But the Vorn had not listened. Now they were beginning to understand. Commander Rakul stood frozen, staring at the holographic screen showing the burning remains of the cruiser. He looked older suddenly, the confidence drained from his face. That was only one human ship firing, Rakul whispered. Yes, Elias replied. And they sent more. Rakul turned sharply. The Dominion has thousands of ships. Humans cannot win a full war. Elias met his eyes. Earth does not need to win a war. They only need to take me back. That sentence made the commander's face twist in anger, fear, and confusion all at once. A Vorn officer burst into the room. Commander. Emergency orders from High Command. Rakul snapped out of his shock. Read it. The officer swallowed. We are to withdraw, immediately. We are to take the human prisoner to a secure facility on the prison moon, Varkos 7. We must hide him. Rakul clenched his jaw. Hide him? From humans? The officer nodded. Yes. The High Command believes humans will not risk attacking the prison moon. Too many defenses. Elias whispered, you overestimate your strength and underestimate Earth. Rakul ignored him. Prepare hyperspace jump. Set course for Varkos 7. The Vorn soldiers rushed out. Rakul faced Elias with a forced smirk. Your fleet is strong, human. But let us see if they can follow us into the darkest corner of our empire. Elias looked at him with quiet confidence. They will. The escape to the prison moon. The prison ship's engines powered up, glowing red as they prepared to jump. Outside the windows, human ships moved closer, forming a wall of steel and fire. Jump now. Rakul ordered. The ship vanished into hyperspace. But the moment they entered, the entire ship began to shake violently. Commander, a soldier shouted. Human ships are tracking us through hyperspace. Rakul's eyes widened. Impossible. No species can do that. Elias spoke softly, Earth can. The Vorn ship shook again as something massive followed them through the hyperspace lane. The lights flickered. Sparks flew from the ceiling. Then silence. Moments later, the ship dropped out of hyperspace above a dark gray moon wrapped in giant metal rings, Varkos 7, the most feared prison moon in the Vorn Dominion. Lightning cracked across the thick clouds. Defense cannons lined the surface like spikes. Rakul sighed with relief. We made it. But Elias shook his head. No. Look behind. The commander turned toward the viewing screen, and froze. Human ships were arriving one by one, ripping out of hyperspace like falling meteors. First 5, then 10, then 20, then more. The entire sky above the prison moon filled with human steel. Rakul whispered, How? How did they follow us here? Elias replied, because Earth never lets go. The prison moon's final defense. Alarms sounded across Varkos 7. Massive cannons on the surface aimed at the human fleet, charging power. Thousands of Vorn soldiers prepared for battle. Inside the command center of the moon, Vorn High Overseer Trelken shouted orders. All weapons fire on the human ships. Do not let them land. Cannon after cannon fired bright red beams into the sky. The beams raced upward, striking shield after shield. But the humans did not break. The human shields flashed white again. The beams vanished like sparks in water. General Kian's voice echoed from the flagship. Return, Dr. Ward. This is your last warning. The Vorn High Overseer laughed. Foolish humans. You threaten the Dominion? You stand alone. Elias watched through the small prison window as the human fleet began to move. They changed formation. Slowly. Calmly. With terrifying precision. This was no rush. No fear. No panic. This was a rescue led by a species that refused to lose even a single human life. The human strike. General Kian raised her hand again. Disable the moon's defenses. No lethal shots. The human ships fired, but not to kill. They targeted cannons, shield generators, weapon rings, fuel depots. Every shot hit its mark. Every target exploded. But not a single civilian structure was touched. Not one. Inside the command center, the Vorn Overseer stared in disbelief. Impossible. They are destroying only the weapons. Commander Rakul whispered, they are not here for war, only for him. The Overseer yelled, prepare the gravity well. Trap their fleet. A giant energy field rose from the moon, a trap meant to stop hyperspace engines to freeze ships in place. Elias felt the prison ship tremble. That was your final mistake, he whispered. A massive explosion flashed across the sky as the human flagship Solaris fired a focused EMP beam, instantly disabling the gravity well. The moon went dark. The human fleet moved in. Rakul stared in shock. We cannot win. We cannot hide him. Elias nodded once. Now you understand. The descent of the human marines. Dropships launched from the human carriers, streaking downward through the storm clouds of Varkos 7. Their engines roared like thunder. Inside one of the dropships, elite human soldiers checked their weapons. Their leader spoke calmly. Mission objective, find Dr. Elias Ward. Bring him home. The dropships pierced the clouds and landed near the main prison structure. Human marines stormed out, fast and silent as shadows. The Vorn soldiers tried to resist. But everywhere the humans moved, they advanced with unstoppable precision. Elias heard explosions growing closer. He heard footsteps stomping through the corridors. He heard Vorn weapons firing, and then going silent. Rakul stepped back, terrified. They are here. They are inside the moon already. Elias looked at him with calm certainty. Earth has come. The walls of Varkos 7 trembled like a dying beast. Dust fell from the ceiling. Metal groaned. Distant explosions echoed through every corridor. The prison moon, once feared across the Vorn Dominion, now felt small, weak, and hunted. Elias Ward sat quietly on the cold floor of his cell as the sounds of battle grew closer. The air smelled like burnt metal. The lights flickered. Even through his chains he kept his calm posture. Commander Rakul stood near the doorway, gripping his weapon tightly. His hands were shaking, and no matter how hard he tried, he could not stop them. Every vibration in the floor made him flinch. They should not be able to get this far, Rakul whispered. This moon was built to withstand an army. Elias looked up. They are not an army. Rakul frowned. What do you mean? They are humans, Elias said softly. And humans fight differently. They fight for each other. Rakul opened his mouth to argue, but a giant blast shook the whole prison. The lights shut off. Red emergency lamps flickered on. A voice shouted from the hallway. Commander, humans have breached Sector 3. Rakul stared in disbelief. Sector 3? That is impossible, they bypassed our defense network. Elias almost smiled. Earth studied your defenses long before they began the rescue. But how? Rakul demanded. You were alone. You had no communication. Elias shrugged lightly. Humans, prepare for every scenario. The commander clenched his teeth, his fear turning into anger. They will not reach you. I will move you deeper into the moon. He grabbed Elias by the arm and pulled him out of the cell. Soldiers rushed around them, half hiding their terror. The corridors were shaking so violently that small cracks formed in the metal walls. Elias stumbled but kept walking. Running will not save you. Rakul snarled. Be quiet, human. But Elias continued calmly. You can delay them, but you cannot stop them. The Marines advance. Meanwhile, deep inside the moon's upper levels, human Marines moved like a single organism. Fast, controlled, deadly. Their armor gleamed even in the flickering red light. Sergeant Hale, leader of the rescue squad, raised his hand. The team halted instantly. He pointed at a sealed door, reinforced Vorn blast metal. Target room is below this level, the sergeant said. We go through. One Marine placed a compact device on the floor. It unfolded like a metal spider and began cutting through the structure with silent blue lasers. Another Marine checked the sensors. Vorn squad approaching from the east corridor. Non-lethal if possible, Sergeant Hale ordered. We're here for Ward, not war. The Marines spread out. When the Vorn soldiers arrived, firing weapons wildly, the humans responded with precision, disabling shots, stunning rounds, shields absorbing every energy beam. Within seconds the corridor was clear. Path open, a Marine whispered. Sergeant Hale checked his visor. Dr. Ward is 80 meters below. Move. Descent into the lower levels. Rakul pushed Elias into an elevator tube. It descended rapidly, taking them into the deepest part of the moon, the old mining levels. These tunnels were maze-like, dark, and filled with old machinery. This place is secure, Rakul said breathlessly. No one can find us down here. The moment the elevator stopped, Elias stepped out slowly. The air was thick with dust. Strange mechanical echoes filled the tunnels. You are hiding, Elias said, but they are tracking my biosignal. Rakul froze. Your what? Biosignal? Elias repeated calmly. Every human in deep space carries one. Earth can follow it across any distance. Rakul's eyes widened in horror. Then they know exactly where we are? Elias nodded gently. Yes. Before Rakul could respond, a deep rumble shook the tunnel. Loose gravel fell from the ceiling. A blue glow appeared far away, growing brighter. Rakul stepped back. No, it cannot be. Elias watched the glow get closer. They found us. The first sight of human forces. A squad of human Marines emerged from the shadows. Their armor glowing faint blue, helmets reflecting the red emergency lights. Their steps were steady, silent, confident. Sergeant Hale walked in front, weapon lowered but ready. He looked at Elias first. Dr. Ward. His voice was calm but warm. Earth sent us to bring you home. Elias nodded with relief. I knew you would come. Then the sergeant's eyes turned to Rakul, cold, unblinking. Rakul raised his weapon with shaking hands. Stay back. He is our prisoner. Sergeant Hale did not flinch. You took a human, he said. That was your mistake. You don't understand. Rakul shouted. We only wanted to test you. A Marine behind Hale replied, You tested the wrong species. The tunnel shook again, this time from above. More human squads were advancing through other levels. Rakul looked trapped. His breath became fast and uneven. I will not surrender him, he shouted. Before he could pull the trigger, a Marine shot the weapon from his hand with a single precise stun bolt. Rakul cried out as he fell to his knees. Sergeant Hale stepped forward. No lethal force, he ordered. We only take the hostage. Two Marines unlocked Elias's chains. They wrapped a protective shield around him. The shield hummed softly, covering his body with blue light. You're safe now, one Marine said. Elias exhaled. It was the first time he allowed himself to feel relief. But then the tunnel shook harder, lights bursting overhead. A voice crackled over the Marine comms. Sergeant Hale, enemy reinforcements incoming. Heavy units. You must extract now. Hale nodded. Team move. Protect Ward. The Marines formed a circle around Elias, weapons ready. But the tunnel behind them exploded open as massive Vorn war machines emerged, towering metal beasts with glowing red cores. Elias whispered, They brought Titans. Sergeant Hale raised his weapon. Then we take down Titans. The tunnel filled with dust and shaking metal as the giant Vorn Titan machines stepped forward. Each step sounded like thunder. Their heavy metal feet crushed the ground, breaking old mining rails beneath them. Red lights glowed from their cores. Their armor plates opened like mechanical wings. Long cannons extended from their shoulders, humming with deadly energy. Elias Ward stared at them with wide eyes. I hoped they wouldn't bring Titans. Sergeant Hale stepped in front of Elias, lowering his visor. His voice became sharp and focused. Marines, Formation Delta. Non-lethal on infantry. Full power on Titans. The Marines moved instantly, forming a human shield around Elias. Their armor lit up, glowing brighter as their shields activated. Rakul, still kneeling on the ground, watched in shock. You cannot defeat Titans. They were built to kill starships. Hale replied without emotion. Good. Then they're big enough for us to hit. The first Titan attack. A Titan raised its arm. Glowing red energy surged into its cannon. The air heated like fire. Brace! Hale shouted. A beam of pure plasma burst from the Titan, striking the tunnel. Rock exploded. Metal melted. The entire world turned white for a moment. But the Marines did not fall. Their shields flared bright blue, absorbing the energy. The floor beneath them cracked, but they held their ground. Elias felt the shockwave through his bones. How is that possible? He whispered. A Marine answered calmly. Human engineers don't sleep much. The counterattack. Sergeant Hale raised his arm. Take down the left Titan first. 3 Marines launched micromissiles, small but powerful. They spiraled through the air, leaving blue trails behind them. The missiles struck the Titan's joints, exploding with controlled force. The Titan roared, its metal armor dented. It charged forward. The ground shook so violently that Elias almost fell. A Marine quickly grabbed his arm, steadying him. Stay behind us, sir. The Titan swung a massive metal arm like a hammer. Move! Hale yelled. The Marines scattered, rolling aside as the arm slammed into the ground, sending stones flying like bullets. 2 Marines jumped onto the Titan's back, attaching magnetic discs. The discs beeped softly, then glowed bright blue. Charges set, one Marine shouted. Hale snapped his fingers. Detonate. Boom. The blue charges exploded with focused energy, not enough to destroy the Titan, but enough to break its left leg. The giant machine stumbled, collapsing onto one knee. Its cannons fired again, but the shots went wild, hitting the ceiling instead of the humans. Rakul stared in disbelief. They are bringing it down. The second Titan moves. While the first Titan fell, the second Titan activated its blade arm, a long glowing sword made of pure plasma. It swung the blade in a wide arc that cut through the tunnel walls like butter. Shields up. Hale ordered. A Marine projected a wide barrier. The plasma blade struck the barrier with a roaring hiss, sparks flying in every direction. The barrier flickered but held. We cannot hold that again, the Marine shouted. Hale replied, we don't need to. We just need an opening. He looked at Elias. Doctor, stay low. Elias nodded. The Titan raised its blade for another strike. But before it could swing, a massive blast of blue energy tore through the ceiling above them. A giant hole opened as a human dropship descended, its engines glowing like stars. Dropship Alpha here, a voice shouted through the tunnel. Hold on. We're giving you support. A heavy cannon extended from the belly of the dropship. Hale smiled beneath his visor. Now it's a fair fight. The fall of the Titans. The dropship fired a concentrated beam of kinetic force. The beam struck the second Titan directly in the chest. The Titan staggered backward, its metal shell cracking. Before it could recover, the Marines fired everything they had: EMP darts, shock grenades, rail shots. The Titan's core overloaded. With a deafening screech, it collapsed onto the floor. Only one Titan remained, the injured one. It tried to stand, but its system sparked wildly. Sergeant Hale gave a short command. Finish it. A final barrage of blue charges struck the Titan's core. Its lights dimmed. It fell forward, shaking the tunnel one last time. Silence followed. Heavy silence. Powerful silence. The silence of victory. Elias exhaled shakily. Thank you, he whispered. Hale turned toward him. We're not done yet. We need to get you out. The final push to extraction. The dropship lowered further, landing on the broken floor. Its ramp opened. Marines surrounded Elias, guiding him toward it. But before they could move far, a voice echoed through the tunnel speakers. Human fleet, this is Vorn High Command. Stop your advance. Hale paused, raising his visor slightly. The voice continued. We surrender. Do not fire on the moon. We will release the prisoner. Elias blinked. They surrendered? Rakul dropped his weapon. He looked defeated, his yellow eyes dim. Hale tapped his helmet. Command, did you copy that? General Kian replied, her voice calm but sharp. We copy. But extraction continues. Bring Dr. Ward home. Hale nodded. Understood. He placed a hand gently on Elias' shoulder. Let's go. The Marines formed a tight formation around Elias, guiding him toward the dropship as dust and smoke drifted in the air. Rakul watched them leave, the scientist he had mocked, now walking safely surrounded by an army. A human army. Rakul whispered to himself, trembling. We awakened a monster. Elias looked back at him once, quietly replying, No. You awakened humanity. Dust still floated in the air as the Marines guided Elias toward the dropship. The floor trembled softly under the weight of broken Titan machines. The tunnel felt larger now, as if the destruction had carved new space inside it. But the silence was broken. Far above them, the sound of distant explosions echoed through the mining shafts. The war outside had not stopped. It was only waiting. Sergeant Hale raised his hand, signaling everyone to pause. His visor scanned the tunnel behind them. Move slow. No mistakes now, he said quietly. Elias tried to calm his breathing, but his heart was still racing. Are we safe? Hale didn't lie. Not yet. The dropship prepares for takeoff. The Marines pushed forward, checking corners, scanning every shadow. The dropship engines hummed louder as they approached. Its interior lights glowed soft blue, warm and comforting compared to the cold darkness of the mine. Inside, medics waited with stretcher straps ready. But Elias refused to use one. I can walk, he said. The medics exchanged a look, then nodded respectfully. You earned that right. As Elias stepped onto the ramp, he felt his legs shaking. Not from weakness, but from the overwhelming reality that he was finally escaping. Finally going home. But the universe did not like easy stories. The ambush. A sudden metallic screech rang through the tunnel. Hale spun around instantly. Contact. Something moved in the darkness. Fast, heavy, and angry. A squad of armored Vorn soldiers stormed out from a hidden side shaft. They carried heavy plasma rifles and concussion grenades. Their leader roared. Stop the human. Do not let him leave. Elias froze. Hale shouted. Shields up. Protect the package. The Marines formed a wall again. Blue shields flared and absorbed the first wave of plasma shots. Bolts of bright red energy crashed into the shields, sending ripples across their surfaces. A Marine yelled. They're trying to destroy the dropship. Hale cursed under his breath. They want to bury us here. The Vorn soldiers charged with terrifying speed, firing non-stop. The dropship pilot shouted from inside. Hurry! Engines at full power. We can't stay long. Echoes of fear. Elias ducked behind a metal crate near the ramp. Every blast of plasma lit the tunnel with red flashes. His ears rang. The ground shook. Sergeant Hale stepped in front of him, deflecting a plasma bolt with his arm shield. You're not dying here, Doctor. Not today. Two Marines advanced, firing steady controlled bursts. Their railguns cracked sharply, punching small but deadly holes into the Vorn armor. But the Vorn kept coming. They were desperate. They were angry. They knew what would happen if Elias escaped. The Marines' last stand in the tunnel. A Marine beside Hale shouted, Grenades out. Two shock grenades bounced across the ground, exploding in bright blue pulses. The Vorn soldiers staggered, stunned. Push forward. Hale ordered. The Marines surged ahead, tackling the Vorn line with brutal precision. Every movement was trained, every shot counted. Elias watched from behind the shield wall. He felt useless. He felt like dead weight. He whispered, trembling. They're fighting because of me. A medic looked at him with a calm expression. No. They're fighting because you matter. Something inside Elias tightened. He was a scientist, a thinker, not a warrior. But now the galaxy had placed him in the center of a storm. And humanity refused to lose him. The final moment of the battle. The Vorn leader roared again and charged straight at the Marines with a glowing blade. Hale met him head-on. Their weapons clashed, sparks flying, metal screeching. Hale's strength pushed the alien back step by step. You should never have touched a human, Hale growled. The Vorn slashed wildly, desperate. Hale dodged the blade, grabbed the alien's arm and slammed him against the wall. One clean strike ended the fight. The remaining Vorn soldiers saw their leader fall, and dropped their weapons, backing away in fear. The Marines pushed forward, forcing them deeper into the tunnel. Hale raised his hand. Do not chase. We're leaving. The Marines returned, breathing hard but victorious. Dr. Ward, Hale said, it's over? Let's go. Elias nodded silently and stepped onto the dropship. The dropship lifts. The ramp closed. The interior sealed. The dropship engines roared and dust blasted across the tunnel floor. Inside, medics checked Elias quickly. He barely heard them, he was staring at the Marines at Hale at the closing hatch. I can't believe I'm leaving this place, he whispered. Hale sat across from him, helmet off now, revealing tired eyes but a calm smile. You're going home, Doctor. And the galaxy is about to learn why you never touch a human. The dropship shot upward through the broken ceiling, rising into the open night of Varkos 7. But the moment they cleared the surface, Elias gasped. His eyes widened in shock. His voice cracked. What is that? The sky is on fire. Above the mining moon, the sky burned with blue and white flames. Human starships filled the orbit, hundreds of them. Battleships, carriers, destroyers, dreadnoughts. And in the center, a massive ship 3 kilometers long, the Earthbreaker, glowing like a rising sun. General Kean spoke through the dropship speaker. Dr. Ward, welcome back. The galaxy will now answer for what was done to you. Elias swallowed hard. Humanity had arrived. And the galaxy would never be the same again.